Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. As you can tell by the title, we are doing a review of the Made for Mermaids Winnie pants. So this is going to be a relatively quick review because I have just a few words to say about this. I am wearing it with, this is the second Pattern Emporium's ruched t-shirt with the ruching on the side. I had a video on this a couple weeks ago, I think with the Cozy Island collaboration, but anyway, and I did the flutter sleeve on this one. The first one was my upcycled one for the Packer shirt. But anyway, so when you see me in the clips and everything I show up here, that is what I am wearing with it. So let's go ahead and jump into this pattern. Before I start, if you recall, first of all, if you're new, welcome, and welcome back to those who continue to tune in from week to week. First of all, if you saw my video, it was probably a month ago maybe, I did a video on elevating my handmade wardrobe, and I shared some inspiration looks with you and different looks that I wanted to do. And I said I'm just going to take my time pulling these pieces together. I could tell there was going to be some pieces that I was going to make more than once, and so far that has been true. And these will come up again on it's going to be repeat, and they are definitely fitting into what I want to wear right now during this time of year. It's still relatively hot outside depending on where you're at. We are in the high 80s right now. The humidity for the most part is gone, but this is absolutely perfect. Even when it gets a little cooler, this will be just as good to wear. So let me pop up the inspirational look. This was the inspirational look I have been talking about several times. I had said I'm making a couple pairs of knit type pants to get this look that I want. I've already shared the one with you, the Bridget trousers from Love Notions, but this was the whole look I had in my mind, because I've had the fabric. Unfortunately, the fabric I'm going to share with you, you can no longer get. I apologize. You all know, as sewers, we hold on sometimes to fabric until we have a pattern that speaks to us. That may take a year, may take a couple years, maybe longer. And so I've had this fabric at least 2 years from Roz, from So Much Fabric. When I say primo, and then the fabric for the top came from Joann Fabrics before they closed. So based on the inspiration look you see here, I knew that I wanted to get the Winnie pants pattern. I talked about this pattern earlier in the year. Roz, who hosts the Sewing Fashionistas meetup here in the Houston area, she hosts it every other month. And so it was, I don't know if it was April or a May meet. No, it had to be an April meeting. She had hosted a meeting, and we were talking, I forget what the topic was at the time, but at any rate, she wore these pants, and they were in her Pant. I feel like they were a cream color, and I just fell in love with them. But Roz stuff, she don't post what she makes. I mean, her stuff always look like it comes out of couture magazines and boutiques and high-end boutiques, because her fit and everything is just impeccable. But that's her background, right? But when I saw these pants on her, I was like, who is that? Well, she was telling us, and it is the Made for Mermaids Winnie pants. So the pattern comes as shorts, crop pants, or just regular pants. I did just the regular pants, and you do have different waist options. You can decide to do a mid-rise elastic waistband. You can decide to do the mid-rise fitted waistband with the drawstring, or you can do the high-rise fitted waistband. I chose to do the elastic waistband with pockets, and I absolutely love how it turned out. Now the sizing, again, for all my makes videos here on out, I'll be putting down in the description box at the time of the video what my size is when I made this particular pattern. So my waist currently measures at a 43, and my hip, which I always disclose, includes the fullest part, where my belly, the fullest part of my belly includes that, and that's 55, because I know pants need to go over that area. Now, the fabric that I chose, and let me get my swatch card. The fabric that I chose is and it's so nice when Ross sends you your fabric. You always get a card with the description and everything on it. But this is called Merlot and Wheat Houndstooth Wool Ponte Knit. 57 inches wide, 80% wool, 20% polyester. At the time, and I purchased 2.5 yards. At the time, this was $16 a yard. And so, and I knew, and I just hung on to it because I always knew this was going to be pants. It was just a matter of what type of pants. And because it is knit, I just have a few scraps left over. Let me hold it up so you can see. And when I tell you, nice stretch, very nice stretch. And so the pattern calls for knit. And one of the things, if you go out to Made for Mermaids, you will be able to see in some of the tester photos for this pattern. Some people did the shorts, some people did the pants, elevated the pants look like I did. Some made a more casual wear, like joggers, and I can definitely see me doing that, more relaxed. But definitely, oh my gosh, let me get into it. So I will say the size. So I told you my measurements, 43 for the waist, 55 for the full hip. I did an inseam. I cut an inseam of 29 inches. There was a comment on my video when I talked about making these with this fabric, because I've had the fabric for a while and it's considered pretty precious, I thought, that how would I do a muslin? I typically don't do muslins for knits. This is a knit pant. So, however, even having said that, you all know I just did, what was that, a month and a half ago now? I was a pattern tester for the Bridget trousers by Love Notions. I'm a brand ambassador. And the fit on those was absolutely perfect. So what I did, I chose not to do a muslin. What I did was the block for the Love Notions, just the back piece, I put on, because that's usually where I find maybe the crotch length is not deep enough, because then, you know, it's that little dip in the back, that type thing. But because those knit pants fit so well, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna lay them on top of the Made for Mermaids, the back, to see how we look at. And I laid down the front too. I laid down front and back just to see, you know, based on the design. Now both those patterns are meant to fit differently, so me doing that, I took all of that into consideration. So when I laid them down, I felt that it was good, that the size that I decided to go with should fit fine. With the design aspect for the Made for Mermaids are a little more loose. You have a little bit more fullness in the leg. So I already knew to anticipate that. The inseam on the Bridget trousers I did was a 29. No, it was a 30. These were 29, but yet I still had to shorten them by 3 inches. We're going to talk about, so I'm not sure about the inseam measurement, but I shortened it to 29.5 because when I put the pattern up to me, I thought that would be fine. But then once I don't think I took in consideration the waistband when I was doing that, because the waistband in itself is already probably 4 inches deep, almost. And so I didn't take that in consideration. So technically I could have went shorter on the pants and I wouldn't have had as deep of a hem. Now the size that I cut out is the lilac and navy. And so lilac is a hip of, it says finished, now this is finished waist of 44.5. I'm 43, and a finished hip of 54.5, and I am a 55. Now I find that these fit me perfect, even though I just told you what my finished garment, what my body measurements are based on these finished garment measurements. I still feel like there was still an inch or two of ease built in there. So take that into consideration when you're doing your measurements. Maybe add on another inch to what the finished garment measurement says in the pattern. That's what I would say, just based on how it fit me in the end. So, but the pattern does go from a waist of, it starts at the cut, well, it's a color range. It starts from gray and goes all the way down to, all the way up to, I should say, 64 inches. So it goes gray up to navy. So your gray starts at, when we're just talking about measurements, it starts out at 23, it looks like, to 24, and then it goes up to 62 to 64 if you are on the larger size. It's drafted for a height of 5'5". I am 5'7", and so even with it being drafted at 5'5", I'm 5'7", I still had to take in about 3 inches. But again, I believe that's because of the waistband. I did not put the waistband on the whole thing so I can see where it's hitting. I probably would have went with the shortest inseam that was drafted for this pattern. So I will leave a link, of course, to this down below. It's not an affiliate link or anything. I did add the pockets on the front. That is optional. The instructions are super easy. Like I said, there's a video on YouTube. I actually didn't even watch the video because, I mean, when I tell you, the one thing I will say, the instructions are super easy. If you don't want to watch the video, you know, they have it on their channel, but on the Made for Mermaids channel. But if you decide not to watch the video, you'll still be good, because I think the instructions were super easy. And so here are the pants. Like I said, I did the pockets in this PinTuck. You see that PinTuck in the front there? And then the waistband. First, my tip, and they mention it in the pattern, so this is not breaking news. Make sure you mark that PinTuck line where you're supposed to fold the fabric and then stitch down, because you do not want your PinTuck to be, you know, shifted wrong or look wobbly going down your leg or anything like that. I double checked mine just because I did not want that to accidentally happen. I will say the thing that took the longest to do on this pattern is this waistband, because you have all of these channels. You have 3 channels for 1/2 inch elastic, and then you have this channel that's for the drawstring. And one of the things you can't tell, but because it blends in so good, but did I put fairy check around here yet? If I didn't, I will, but I have to double check. I don't think I did. But what I originally did, because you can do buttonholes for this opening, or you can do the eyelets, and so I decided to do the eyelets, but the eyelets were smaller than the drawstring. So when I was pulling the drawstring through, the eyelet came all the way out on both sides, and I was like, okay, I should have known better, because this is kind of a wider drawstring, and so I'll just put some fray check around that opening, because it will, you know, you'll draw it closed. Not that it get a ton of pulling and everything, but you definitely want to make sure it doesn't, you know, ruin anything around there. But look at that. At the longest part of this pattern was doing this drawstring. Why? Because you're doing all these rows of stitching, and then you have to leave open 2 inches so you can go up in there and feed through the elastic, feed through the drawstring, elastic, and then you have to go back and stitch that down. Well, that takes time. That was not a quick process, but when I tell you, in the end, it looks absolutely phenomenal. Now let me show you, and I did, just so you know, I finished off the inside with serger stitches, and yeah, that was fine. I just finished off serger stitches. The bottom, here's my bottom hem. So here's my hem. Can you see that here? It looks like, oh, I stitched that. Oh, I didn't catch that. I kind of stitched that a little crooked down there. Not like anybody can tell from a distance, but if you can tell, here's my hem. See how deep that hem is? I think that is a result of the waistband. That the 29 or 30 inch inseam probably would have been fine had I calculated everything with the waistband, and then I wouldn't have had as deep of a hem, I think. And so but anyway, what I did was, because initially I was thinking I was going to cut it to, you know, make it the length it needs to be, but I said no, I bet what would be better is just to put a deep hem on this, so it's, you know, it drapes beautifully, it hangs beautifully at the bottom. So what I did was just stitch, serge around the top, and then stitch down. As you can tell there, I just stitched down. Now, a couple things I was thinking initially was, oh, maybe I'll fold it under, which I could have. I could have easily done that and then stitched it down that way. But then I was thinking, because I did serge it, I mean, like I was going to keep it serged, but then just fold the serge edge under and then stitch it down. But the only reason I did not do that is because I was thinking, I wasn't sure if the bottom of the pant will look how I want it to look once I put in this deep cuff. And if I needed to unpick it to do anything, I didn't want to, imagine me having flipped this under and then stitched on top of it. I would have been unpicking or unraveling the serger threads as well. And so I was like, you know what? Nobody's gonna know. I'm just gonna do it like this. Put a nice deep hem in it, you know, and leave it like that. So I'll pop up pictures in a quick video here. I just put this on for video purposes. Style this together so you can see what I was thinking about this entire look, and I absolutely love it. I have an idea of what, I have a couple things coming up in December that I'm thinking I might wear this to, and so I'll take more pictures and everything at that time, probably styled slightly different. I don't know, we shall see. Because there's a top. What I'm looking for is some knit that's in wine. I think Roz has it. And there's a top I'm thinking I want to make. Another top, not this one, but another pattern that was on my inspirational board list that I shared with you all that I can make to go with this. We shall see. Stay tuned for that. But that is it, everybody. I make these pants. Make these pants, make these pants, make these pants. I absolutely love them. And you all know I don't do a ton or if any stripes or anything like that. But I fell in love with this fabric and I don't have to worry about anything necessarily meeting up. But everything still looks good in it. So that's it, everybody. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you like it styled. If I hit it out of the park compared to my inspiration look, all of the things. So that is it. Hopefully before this video, you should have gotten my Mood Fabrics the grand opening experience, whatnot. If you have not watched that video, go check that out. And yeah, by the time you see this video, hopefully I would have started answering comments, but give me time if I have not to get to comments. I tend to do that over the weekend. But anyway, thank you everybody so much for tuning in today. I greatly appreciate it. Stay tuned for Sunday. That is going to be a mini haul. And yeah, stay tuned for Sunday. And then next Wednesday, I don't know, so just subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to thumbs up this video on your way out. Leave your question, comments, and thoughts down below. I greatly appreciate it. Oh, and if I hadn't mentioned it already, don't forget there are still sewing themed advent boxes available over on the website. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. I greatly appreciate it. You all have a blessed rest of your week, and we'll see you on Sunday. Bye.